that I wanted to take. I learned how to navigate classes I didn't want to take. I learned how to get connected to the resources and opportunities that would help me be able to strive for the very best. And although building relationships was critical for me when I was in your program, and I'm sure it was critical for you, it's this relationship building and being in relationship with people that's helped me get from where I was here to be able to run the organization that I run today and to do the work that we do. So the path I took from UEP to running mass mentoring was a path about learning, growing, and doing the very best I could to improve both the public and private sector and opportunities for young people. But I did that through relationships. I did that with mentors who were mentored me, with folks that I have mentored, folks I've connected with, people who've given me opportunities that maybe I wasn't quite ready for, but I reached for them because I had built relationships with folks who helped me to be able to do that. So what I thought I would do, rather than tell you some wisdom that I probably don't have to share, but what I thought I would do was tell you two quick examples of relationships that I was in that made a tremendous difference for me, that I hope give you a nugget of the relationships I'm sure many of you already have or that you will have. One I call the silver bullet. So one of my first jobs out of college after running the youth, the UEP program, after running the youth department in the city of Somerville, by the way, I would not have had the parade the same day as graduation in case anybody's curious, but just give you that piece of advice. I was running a community youth, I was doing community health programming. And the first day I got there, a manager who was not very warm, but very strict and stern and very specific about her advice, gave me a silver bullet on my first day in work. I thought it was kind of odd that she gave me a silver bullet, but she told me this quick story, again, with no emotion, and said, see, I'm giving you this silver bullet, because in public health and community health work, there's no simple answer. There's no silver bullet. So I want you to keep it, I want you to remember that in this work. The conversation lasted as long as I just told it to you. I took the silver bullet, I put it away, and I thought, that was hokey, but I'll keep it. 3 years later, and in this experience with this manager, I learned exactly what she meant, day in and day out, working in the communities of Roxbury and Dorchester and Mattapan, working up in Lawrence and in Lynn, working down in New Bedford, working in different places. I knew that there was lots of work to be done. And in relationship with this manager, she taught me firsthand, what did it mean that there was no silver bullet? What did it actually mean to think about that? That when you're in the community and you're doing work and you're working hard, there are no simple answers. There are solutions you have to work towards. There are things you have to do in compromise and in collaboration, and that if you think there's a silver bullet, most likely you're going down the wrong path. So 3 years before, the hokey gesture of a silver bullet meant nothing. But 3 years later, after a trusting relationship with this manager, she taught me many things, and I consider her today to be a mentor of mine who has guided me and given me much support. So for me, that silver bullet now means something, and I give it to people too when I manage them to try to make sure they understand the complexity. Without relationship, the silver bullet meant nothing. In relationship, it taught me a valuable lesson. The second quick story I'll share with you has to do about making sure that as you advance, as you grow, as you create opportunities, that you don't forget those who are coming after you, the next generation of folks who will be there. I ran a program, and this was at Mass Mentor, and I ran an AmeriCorps program, and I had staff who ran this program. And a woman who had been in our program, this was her first year doing her second year she had done AmeriCorps with us. And she was very much, had a very similar background as me. She was the first in her family to go to college. She was raised by a single father. She worked really hard to make her dreams a reality. And as a person of color, went to a rural college, which was very difficult, but came and did AmeriCorps with us. When her service was over, it was the same time that a program manager who ran that program was stepping down and looking for a new job. So this young woman came to me and said she wanted to meet with me to talk about opportunities in the organization and thinking about her next career path after she left us from 2 years of service. So we got together, we had lunch, and I had that conversation you have with people who are looking for advice. I guided her, I gave her advice, I told her, don't let people box you in. People are gonna try to tell you this is the kind of job for you, or this is the kind of opportunity for you. But as a young woman, as a person of color, you have to be willing to break open that box and to decide what's right for you. So I gave her some advice, she found it very valuable, and we appreciated it. And right at the end, she said to me, you know, I know that the manager's leaving. Do you think that I could maybe be supportive and fill in for a little bit until you find a new manager? And I said, sure. That would be great, we appreciate that. We have to do a search and I'd love your help. So as we decided to utilize her, I talked to the VP of programs and I said, so this young woman is great and it would be good for her to fill in, but I want to be clear. This job probably isn't for her. She probably doesn't have enough experience to do this job permanently. So let's give her a chance, build her skills, but I don't want to set unhealthy expectations. So she does the work, she does a great job for 3 months. We open the search, the resumes start to come in, and the VP of programs comes in and says, oh, we got all these resumes, some really great people, and by the way, this young woman, she applied for the job. And I said, well, I feel like we might be putting her in a bad spot, but you should at least have a conversation with her as kind of a courtesy. The VP does the initial interviews and on the phone screens or the initial conversations and says, you know, I'm bringing in 7 people for these first round interviews, and I decided I'm gonna bring her in for a formal interview. Again, I'm still not sure that she's the right person for the job given her lack of experience and given the fact that she needed more real work experience, but the VP was moving forward, so she did. So finally she got to the final stage. 3 people, small group interviews with staff, presentations, all other good stuff. And she lets me know that this young woman's one of the finalists, that she's decided to bring her in as one of the finalists. So as the finalists meet and they do their work, they then meet with me individually as the CEO to have a conversation. And I sat with this young woman and we had a normal interview and learned about her skills. And I said, you know, I have to ask you something. When you decided to help us temporarily, I think we gave you some advice. I think the organization sort of let you know that we didn't think you were the right person for this opportunity. Why did you apply anyways? I just want to know. And she said to me, well, because I ignored that advice and I listened to your advice from 2 months before, where you told me, don't let anyone box you in, don't let anyone tell you what opportunities for you, don't let anyone shape, you have to pull it apart. So you didn't think I could do it, but I didn't think I could. And so I listened to you and I pulled it apart. And I share that with you because that's in relationship. The guidance, the words that you share with people, they matter. And so in relationship, I hopefully helped her prove me wrong. Reminded myself to remember what I say to other people. And 3, it allowed me to realize that your words, your communication, and the connections you built matter. So let me leave you with this last piece. I learned a lot having been at UEP, and again, it's been 16 years since I walked away with this degree. And in those 16 years, I've accomplished many things. I've made some mistakes. I've made some successes and had some great opportunities in front of me. But what I learned most, and what I continue to learn from, is that the relationships that I built where you're sitting today are relationships that I've maintained for a long time. And the relationships I've built with new people, new opportunities, new connections, really make a big difference. So all the skills I learned and all the policy analysis I did while I was here was helpful and important. But my ability to build strong relationships helped me on the path to make the difference that I wanted to make in the community. Thank you for giving me a chance to be here with you. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing some of you out in the community. Thank you.
So our next speaker, Danielle No, is our student speaker representing the Master of Arts program. Danielle is graduating not only with the Master of Arts in UEP, but also with a dual degree Master of Science from the Tufts School of Nutrition. Danielle received her bachelor's in environmental science from UC Berkeley and has developed expertise in both agricultural science and policy. She's been an active participant in UEP student life, building bridges across cohorts during her extended time as a dual degree student, and was also a finalist for the Tufts Student Leadership Award last year. A most notable achievement during her Tufts years is as the coach of the Ultimate Frisbee team. She coached the team up to a number 10 ranking and qualified for nationals this year. She's headed with her team over Memorial Day weekend to compete in Cincinnati, Ohio for the USA Ultimate D1 College Championships. So between 2 master's degrees and a possible national title looming. Danielle has many things to be congratulated for. Danielle?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, now I can't read the paper. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to friends and family from near and far, faculty and staff at UEP and Tufts University. Thank you to the graduating class for bestowing upon me this honor. And for me personally, thank you to my parents, sitting over there, for taking root in the United States and nurturing me to act limitlessly. And so, in many ways, UEP has encouraged us to think about things from different points of view and to think creatively. And so I'm going to share with you a story through the lens of sports. Not through ultimate frisbee, but through swimming. And I think that there's a lot of translatable stories between my personal experiences learning how to swim and our shared experiences being trained as practical visionaries. Practical visionaries continuing to the development of inclusive and sustainable communities around the globe. This is going to be an imperfect comparison, but it should be over in a few minutes. And so, when I was 17 years old, I joined my high school swim